So I really like when I look at the activity in Slack, it's really amazing. Thanks a lot for helping each other. So when I see that there are questions and then already you, the participants, the students help each other and answer questions. So it's not the course team, not Timur or Tinam or me, but you help each other, and this is really amazing. So please keep doing this. And this is such a good feeling to see when you help each other. So thanks a lot. I also wanted to thank Timur for homework 1 and Tinam for homework 2 and homework 3 that he just prepared. There soon will be an announcement for homework 3, but it's actually already available. So I think if you go to ML Zoomcamp and you go to this folder 3, so you will see that it's already there. And this time we added this note here. I saw that it was a problem this week. So when you do something and then you don't get one of the answers, one of the options in the form. So here we added this at the top of the homework so it's visible. Because sometimes it happens that the answer we had when we were preparing homework doesn't match the answer that you had when you execute this. And it doesn't mean that your solution is wrong. It just means that we have different operational system, different Python version, different libraries, different, I don't know, random seed, and there are many, many things that can influence the answer. And if you don't get one of the options, it's fine. And in this case, just select the option that is closest. And yeah, we on purpose try to make these options quite far apart from each other. So if your answer is slightly off or a bit off from the what we how to say, what we think is correct, what is correct in our environment, yeah, so you will still get the answer, right? So don't worry about this. Okay, so homework 3 is already available. Yeah, so another thing, so somebody asked for extension for homework 2. You can get it, so it will be extended by 1 day by tomorrow. But yeah, homework 3 will not be extended, so it will still be next Monday. So yeah, please try to organize your time in such a way that you will not need an extension again next week. Another thing from Telegram that I already posted, but maybe let me reiterate one more time. So we have this thing as FAQ, right, which contains quite a lot of answers. So before jumping in Slack and then asking your question, please check this document. And it probably already contains the answer you need. And if it doesn't, ask in Slack and then put the answer in this document. It will help other students and it will help us, the course team, to handle all your questions. So please do this. And yeah, please don't tag us. And it's not necessarily annoying. So I'm not personally annoyed when some of you tagged me. I get a lot of notifications. But the problem is, I think when you tag somebody of us, it discourages other people from helping because it feels like you're targeting the question at us. And it means that well, maybe some of the people will not feel comfortable jumping in and answering. But we are not always available immediately. And if you don't tag us, then somebody of the students will feel it will be easier for them just jump in and give the answer. And usually these answers are correct. And yeah, please help each other. Please keep helping each other. And it's really amazing to see that you help each other and don't tag us to avoid discouraging other students to help you. And yeah, the other thing that maybe I keep repeating every time is please use threads. So don't post don't split your message into, I don't know, 5, 6 messages, put here error logs and threads and so on. So we have this document that I just want to show you one more time, which is called asking questions, and which is a summary of everything I just showed. So you saw this, some of you have seen this multiple times, and probably it's getting annoyed. You're getting annoyed that I'm again repeat this. But yeah, for those who haven't seen this yet, please take a look. Okay, what else I have here? So homework submission, yeah, one more thing. So when you submit your homework, please be careful when you enter your email, because if you accidentally make a typo, then it's a lot of manual work for us to actually fix this typo. And one thing you can do to make sure that you actually you do it right, so you don't accidentally put a typo, is use this option, send a copy of the responses to my email. So when you do this and you don't get a reply, a response from the form, it means that something is wrong. Maybe you need to submit it one more time. So yeah, please use this, and this will be like an extra safeguard against accidentally putting a typo. But if it happens, we're all humans, we all make typos, right? If it happens, don't worry, just let us know in chat that you have this problem and we will fix it for you. Okay, I think that's all I have in the plan, and we can jump into questions and answers, and there are quite a few of them. So yeah, you've been busy. Wow, it's already 36 or 34. So let's start. So let me take a sip of water. Not water, but this beverage. And yeah, I see the discussion in live chat. So yeah, remember that you get one extra point if you help others with frequently asked questions. So if you want to have more scores in our leaderboard, then yeah, help each other. Okay, let's start. Wow, it's 9 upvotes. I would like to create a portfolio of projects to get experience and showcase my skills. Can you recommend a strategy to make up fine projects? Yeah, I can. So, well, first of all, you'll have to do projects here for this course too. So you can treat them as, real projects, something that you will show to potential hiring managers. And when you do this, keep this in mind. So think that you're not creating this project for this course. You're not creating this project for your peers who will evaluate this. But think of this as if you're creating this for a hiring manager who will take a look at your project and try to evaluate this. And then keep this in mind when you work on this. So add as much documentation as possible, add as much context as possible. And yeah, because the hiring manager might not be aware of the course and they might not know some things. So give as much context as they need to figure out what's going on. I don't think this is really the answer to the question. I think it will definitely showcase your experience and skills if you write very good documentation there. As for the strategy, yeah, just, I don't know, find a data set and just go to Kaggle. So for example, let me open Kaggle and then see what happens there. Oops, so Kaggle, kaggle.com, right? And then we have this newsletter, newsfeed. Right? And then we can see that somebody did, I don't know, this Jupyter Network Global AI Challenge. I have no idea what it is. And email spam detection model. So just look at what people do here, and then you see, okay, there is some data. I don't know what it is. Just click on this thing. And you can see what people work on and see what this is about. So predict hourly sales for cash registers across a retail chain. This looks like a cool project. So how about you get this data set and work on this, right? And then, like, if you run out of ideas, just open Kaggle and you will see what people work on and work on the same thing. So as easy as that. And then, yeah, You can also spend a bit more time trying to figure out what you like and then find a data set about that. The best thing, as I said last time, is try to think what is important for you and then get a data set for that, collect a data set yourself. But yeah, if you have problems with that, just go to Kaggle and pick whatever people is working on. Yeah, hourly energy consumption looks pretty interesting. Data science job salaries, also pretty interesting. Like, I mean, any of these things can be used for a project. And again, Kaggle is not the only place where you can find data. Just today, we put a dump of our Slack into a special channel. I think it's called Slack dump. There was an announcement in general, so you can also check it out and yeah, maybe do some analysis of that and see what you can find there. Okay, I hope this is you're satisfied with this answer. If not, yeah, ask a follow-up question. Which area of data science engineering, machine learning, deep learning is best for finding a remote job? Pretty much any area. I don't know what is best. What does it mean best? Remote jobs exist for any of the areas. So just pick up what you like and then build a portfolio in that area and then start looking for a job. What topic would you consider fundamental and relevant for time series analysis and forecasting in real time? Would you teach this or can you give suggestions? We will not cover it in this course. And there is a good book about this. I think time series, I think it's forecasting principles and practice. Yes, this one. It's a bit oriented on R, but I think you can find also some code for Python too for this book. And yeah, if you want to learn more about time series and forecasting, this is the book you should check. And usually things like exponential smoothing are sufficient for most of the cases. Then we also recently had a webinar about this. So you can go to playlists, and then it was a webinar, yeah, this one. And it was, so we actually had multiple. So we had this probabilistic demand forecasting at scale, which is quite a nice talk. And this one, feature engineering for time series forecasting. So these two things are quite comprehensive. So yeah, check them out. But I would start with the book that I showed you. Yeah, and I think here fundamental is yeah, things like exponential smoothing. I think this is quite an easy approach and it works quite well. What library do you use for data visualization? Was it Seaborn? Yeah, Seaborn. Is getting into data science or data engineering harder than the other or about the same? It really depends on your background. So if you're already a software engineer, then maybe data engineering will be easier because you don't need to spend a lot of time studying machine learning. But yeah, it's also like, what do you like? What do you like more? And then go there. And it depends also, as I said, let's say if you have a PhD in physics, maybe data engineering will be more difficult for you than data science. But if you like data engineering more than data science, just go for it and do data engineering. And if you like it more, then it will not matter for you if it's harder or not. Is linear regression applicable in real life or it is more of a simple baseline model? It's both. It is very, very applicable in real life. And usually most projects start with a simple baseline without any machine learning. And then you can use the next baseline with linear regression. And then your model can work as a using linear regression until you think, okay, now it's time I need to improve it. And then maybe you can use something like XGBoost or something like this. So it's very applicable, and it's applicable as a simple baseline model. So sometimes you just don't need a more complex model. So let's say if you have XGBoost, then it becomes more difficult to serve because you need more, it's more computationally demanding, while linear regression is just matrix multiplication. So it's very simple, it's very performant. Yeah, so it is like a good first model that you always should use and you should always start with. How does regularization affect the inference output in linear regression, such as the original t-statistics, f-statistics, standard errors? The best way is just to test it. So take a linear regression, look at all the t-statistics, f-statistics, standard errors, and then play with the regularization parameter and then see how it changes. And then you will see how it affects. And then this effect will be different for different data set. So the answer is, it depends. Just go and test it yourself. And to be honest, I don't remember exactly what these statistics show to give you an answer, but this is how I would approach this if I wanted to know it. When we have a large data set, how should we select the features? Should I use correlation? What if the relationship was not linear? Yeah, so here the important thing is to use some validation framework. So set aside some data for testing, for validation, and then use it for selecting features. And usually there are many things you can actually use for selecting features. And again, I will go to our Data Talks Club channel. And I think we had this talk, feature selection in machine learning with Python. So here Soledad explains what kind of feature selection models are there, or algorithms. So yeah, please check it out. And I think if you just Google feature selection, you will find a lot of articles about this. So correlation is a good first step, and we will see this in week 3, I think, when we look at feature importance. So sometimes you can just throw away unimportant, not important features, and that should be large enough. But the best way here is to use cross-validation or just validation and see if removing feature actually doesn't change the performance of your model. Do you recommend do projects like those project of the week, which seems to be more tutorial and discovery, to build a portfolio? Yes, this is a really good way of building your portfolio. And by the way, so if you don't know about this project of the week, maybe I can find it quickly. Project, where it is? Project of the week. Yeah, this one. So this is the repo. We only had 2 iterations here, but here it's more like a study group where we focus on building and learning things. And for example, we did this one about Streamlit, and it looks like here is a task for day 1, here is the task for day 2, and you're somehow on your own, but still at the same time with others who are also going through this. And this is, let's say, more independent. And so at the end of this thing, we will not have 30 people all with the same project. We'll have 30 people all with different projects. And this is, I think, it's a different thing, right? So it makes it a bit more interesting and unusual. So it's definitely a good way to build a portfolio. And if you have some ideas what exactly you want to learn, you can suggest these ideas, and we can do this as a part of project of the week. So yeah, I do recommend this approach. So yeah, that's I think one of the best ways to do project is when you try to come up with a problem you want to solve yourself. And you will have to do this for this course too. So we will give you some guidelines. These guidelines will be this evaluation matrix that you saw maybe, but you will actually have to find a data set yourself. You will have to find a problem yourself. and then you will have to implement everything we did in the course yourself. And then at the end, you will have a model that is deployed and could be used. And I think this is really good. So this is what you want to have. Is the log transformation suitable for both right and left skewed distribution? Is there any other better transformation method available for skewed data? Yeah, I think log transformation is suitable for right skewed distributions. So the same we had in the course, right? Because for the left skewed, I don't actually know how it will work. I mean, you can just apply it and see what happens. I think that's the best. Like maybe the answer is it depends, right? So you just try it and see what happens, and then based on what you observe, you decide what to do next. And if you see something that remotely reminds a bell-shaped curve, then you're on the right track. I hope I answered this question. I don't know about any better transformation methods available for skewed data. I think this is like logarithmic transformation is a, I would say, pretty standard one when it comes to pricing data. That's why we did include this in the course, because if you work with prices, it's very likely that you will have to use this one. But when it comes to others, it's less, maybe it's less common. There are things like box-cox transformation. What else? Yeah, there are quite a few of them, but maybe they are not as widespread as this one. Can you provide the link to Docker video that has been removed for setting up Docker? Thank you. So yeah, I think it's confusing because there is no video 1.6 about setting up the environment. So it's just a page. So there was no video, so that's why it wasn't removed. It just never existed. But if you want to actually, let me open it one more time. So if you actually want to find this Docker video, then you go here, environment, and here, this video. So this video is not from this course. It is from a different course, but the steps you need to do here, they're very similar to what we need to do in this course. So you can just go through this course, and this video shows how you configure a remote machine on AWS. Okay, yeah, I think I hope that answers your question. So yeah, it was never a part of this course. Maybe if somebody wants to contribute, you can. Maybe not everyone likes watching these videos, so if you want, you can just maybe go through this video and contribute like a step-by-step guide for this. If you're interested, if somebody might need this. Okay, how many portfolio projects apart from a course are needed for getting a job? Again, you probably will hate me soon for saying this, but the answer is it depends. So maybe it's 0, maybe it's 1, maybe it's 2, right? So you never know. You just need to start interviewing, and then in parallel to that, get projects. So maybe you get lucky and then you get hired from the first interview. Probably not, but you will already start learning what companies need. And then at the same time, you try to implement this. You see, okay, like this is what companies care about. Let me use some of the technologies they want us to use, right? You can look at the job descriptions to figure out what is important. You can talk to them when you have interviews, and you can ask them, hey, what kind of technologies I should use for my portfolio projects to be a good fit for this position, for example, right? It never hurts to ask. So yeah, and keep doing this. So maybe you will get a job on the 3rd project. Maybe it will be on 0 projects when you haven't even started doing this. I think like 2 or 3 should be enough. But yeah. And when I got my first job in data science, I had so I had been working back then as a freelancer already in data science. So I had some projects from past clients that I showed. But most of the time on that interview, for the job I got, we talked about my master thesis. So my master thesis was about processing Wikipedia data, and I was working with mathematics there. And the interviewer for that job was really interested in this. So we spent most of the time talking about that project. So maybe like a good answer to this question would be to have one project that is relevant for the company you interview, and then you will just spend most of the time on the interview discussing this project. Okay, I've been talking too much. I need a sip. I wanted to say a sip of water, but it's not water. Okay, so where are we? The task that we have done in this homework can be considered as a real project, right? I guess real project might be more complete end to end. So the homework is not meant to give you end-to-end experience, end-to-end project experience. It's meant to make sure you understand, you kind of, reiterate all the topics we cover in the videos, in the course materials, and we try to focus on the most important parts there, and also maybe push you a little bit out of what we covered. So you need to do a bit of exploration yourself. Maybe not so far, but there will be homeworks where you will actually need to move a little bit outside of what was presented in the course and then do a bit of Googling yourself. So it's not real projects in the sense that, you probably shouldn't put this to your portfolio and call it, hey, I predicted a car price data set. I used this data set and I predicted the car price, right? And here is my portfolio project. So I wouldn't do this. But for the courses or for the projects we will have as a part of this course, yes, you can definitely do that. And they will be more complete and end-to-end, definitely, compared to what we do in homework. Will you teach NLP? I want to learn and implement NLP for market news analysis. Another use case I want to try is understand data, tabular, image, audio. So not as a part of this course. We will not cover NLP here. Maybe if there is a lot of interest in NLP, yes. I'm actually thinking what kind of course I should make. So if you have any suggestions, please reach out. And yeah, so I want to start thinking about the next course. And so maybe by the next of this year, we have some sort of outline. So if there is a lot of interest in NLP, could be NLP, but I don't know NLP that well myself. I know the basics. So then like how deep we want to go there. That's so please tell me what you're interested in NLP, and then we can see if this will happen at some point. How should we select the best model? How should I choose the parameters for hyperparameter tuning? Yeah, so you use validation for that, and then you see what works best on validation, and then you use the test data set to make sure you do not overfit. So that's how we do it. Alexei, you should train some moderators to help you on Slack. Share the load, otherwise on the long run you might lose the joy of doing this. I don't particularly enjoy moderating Slack, to be honest. So if you want to share the load and help me, please reach out, and I will definitely share the joy of moderating Slack with you. So yeah, but a good suggestion. Thank you. How would you go about adjusting the price data for inflation? So here what we can do is we have a process for collecting data. So let's say we run a website where we sell cars. So, and we can see that inflation is there because the prices for which people are selling the cars are growing, right? And what we can do is every month we can just use this data that we have for retraining our model. Perhaps we can, like, I don't know if it makes sense if people do this. Perhaps for the prices in the past, we can retroactively adjust this based on inflation. So let's say if we know that this year in Europe the inflation is, I don't know, was it 9% or something like this? Or I don't know, we know that for cars specifically inflation is this number, then perhaps we can adjust it. But I don't know if people actually do this. Is one-hot encoding recommended instead of dummy encoding? Yes, well, dummy encoding is, what's the difference? I don't remember. So we don't include one of the things, right? One of the columns. Because like initially when I said one-hot encoding is recommended instead of dummy encoding, I thought if you're asking if we should use one-hot encoding from scikit-learn versus one-hot encoding from pandas. In pandas, we have this getDummies method, which works like one-hot encoding. But the problem with this method is it will create different. So let's say if you're on your training data, you have this variable make with 10, only 10 different values, but in validation you have 11. You will have different size of your matrix, right? You will see this in this week when we cover one-hot encoding. And actually, using one-hot encoding from scikit-learn is recommended because this is something we will, well, the way we implement it here is through dictionary vectorizer. And this is something it makes it easier to deploy models later. So you will see one-hot encoding, how we implemented it in this week. And in week 5, you will see how we can use this dictionary vectorizer to turn a request that is coming to our web service and then turn it into a matrix and then predict whatever we are predicting. Can you explain regularization better? I did not really understand it from the course video. Thank you. I need more information to actually help you here. Because I don't think I will have enough time to explain it here. What you can do is maybe you can check regularization Andrew Eng. So he is really good at explaining regularization. He's explaining it from a different point of view, but the explanation he gives is really good. So check it out. But here, so the problem we had here in this course is, so sometimes you have correlated variables. So when you can, one variable and another variable mean the same thing. And when this happens, you cannot invert the matrix. That's why we use regularization here. But it has much wider scope. And this will help you. If you have specific things you did not understand, please ask in Slack or maybe next time. But this is such a broad question that I do not know how to best answer and help you. In which model we will need to take a decision about using cloud platform or local? Is it possible to do all cores local? It is possible to do everything locally. You will need to do it by, I think you'll need to do it in module 5 when we deploy something. So there will be, or actually, you'll probably need to do it in when we do your project. Yeah, it's fine to do everything locally. But yeah, if you have access to cloud and if you want to practice with this, I do recommend practicing because cloud is one of the skills that employers are looking for. They really need it. So if you want to be more employable, I do recommend learning about cloud. Should we research papers to stay up to date with recent advances in AI? Most are focused on deep learning, transformers, diffusion model, DALL-E, etc. How? Depends. Again, sorry for answering this. So what is your end goal? Do you want to be a researcher or you want to work as a machine learning engineer? So if you, depending on what you answer, the answer to this question will be different. And if your answer is machine learning engineer, then the answer is you don't stay up to date with recent advances in AI. Oh, you don't have to stay, let's say. If you want just go on Twitter and see what's trending and then read these articles, or I don't know, Reddit, machine learning or subreddit, for example. But if it's too much for you, then just don't stay up to date. Like nobody forces you to do this. Just know basics enough. And then for actual practical applications of machine learning, I recommend attending conferences. Something like PyData, for example. PyData, I think they have chapters everywhere. So you can find a PyData conference in the area where you live, and then just attend it. Or, I don't know, watch PyData conferences online. And it's not just PyData. So you can go to Datadog's Club webinars, workshops, and also learn from them. And of course, these are not the only channels that you can find. So YouTube is full of information that you can use for getting experience from people from the industry. So this is how you stay up to date if you want to, like for machine learning engineering. I am used to train test split from scikit-learn, but in our example, we split train test validation. Could you explain the difference between these two approaches? I'm not sure I understand the question. So the question is why test train splits in two, but here we split into 3 parts. For that, there is a video in week 1 that explains why we need 3 datasets, not 2. So you can go check it out. And there is a problem called multiple comparison problem. And that's why we use test split to account for that. And you will see later in module 3 that we can also use scikit-learn train test split to split our original dataset in 3 parts. And this is exactly what we will do. Do you often use interaction polynomial terms when applying linear regression? Yes and no. Sometimes, yeah. I wouldn't say often. Sometimes it happens. Sometimes it doesn't. Usually, I often use interactions for, and here I don't mean just linear regression, also logistic regression. When you have 2 categorical features, then, for example, if you have model and make, you concatenate them, and then, yeah, it gives you like better granularity, let's say. So then, because if you do this, if you concatenate model and make, you will know from the coefficients of linear regression what's the effect, like how much the price is affected when we know what is this particular model make combination. I hope I'm not confusing you even more. How does the linear regression algorithm know how to estimate the right weight for a particular feature, given that some features are more important than the others? Yeah, that's an interesting question. So this is something we do not cover in details in this course. And again, maybe if you want, you can refer to this Andrew Ng course for more theory. So here we don't cover a lot of theory. We focus more on practice. But from the theoretical point of view, linear regression is trying to optimize so-called loss function. And it's doing it by using some mathematics. So normal equation that we saw is one of the ways of finding the minimum for this loss function. And here, so basically the weights we get at the end, they are the best in terms of minimizing this loss function. So these weights that we get, they make sure that this loss function is minimal. Right? I don't know if it makes sense to you or not, but there is some mathematical, how to say, foundation or behind this. So there is some explanation why it happens this way. So if you want to find out more about this, maybe you can check about a thing called gradient descent, which explains, yeah, so this is a loss function, and then we move down by tweaking our weights in such a way that when we arrive at the end, the weights we have in our model, they are the best ones with respect to this particular loss function. Yeah, I think we slightly cover loss functions and minimization. I think maybe in neural networks. I don't remember. But yeah, so here we focus more on practical aspects. You kind of put some trust into that the model gives you a good enough estimate, and then use it from practical point of view. But if you want to learn more theory, then I think there is no better course than this one from machine learning in Andrew NG Inc. Yeah, so I think this is like, from my point of view, that was the best courses I took when it comes to theoretical machine learning. Okay, questions keep coming up. So I actually wanted to do this. I still have time. I wanted to only do answer questions in only for half an hour, but because I see there are so many of them, I can do it till 6. I hope it's not boring for you. I don't see a lot of discussion in. Oh, there's a question about gradient descent. Would gradient descent give completely different weights than normal equation? No, they shouldn't. They should give roughly the same weights. And yeah, at the end, the minimum of your loss function is the same, but gradient descent and normal equation arrive at this solution differently. And then at the end, the solution should be the same. Okay, I'm struggling with pandas. I am getting your lecture videos, but when I try to implement by my own, I don't know which method to use and how to use pandas. Okay, welcome to the club. Every new library is difficult, so you can replace it. I am struggling with X, and it will apply to pretty much any other library. And good news that you can, somehow find a solution to this problem, and the solution is practice. So just you get stuck, try to get unstuck by Googling, by understanding what you need, and then try to formulate what is your problem you're facing right now. So what do you want to do with pandas but don't know how? And then try to formulate it, put this to Google, and then you will find a solution. And this is how you learn the library. At least this is how I learn libraries, right? So there is usually documentation, tutorials. Try to go through these tutorials, but first it starts with formulating what is the problem you have and you want to solve, then trying to find the solution to this problem. And usually the solution is a piece of documentation or a video or a tutorial or a project that somebody did. And then you try to make sense from this information you found. And this is how you learn, by practicing. Yeah, probably there are videos about pandas, tutorials that you can just watch to, learn a lot of that. But yeah, you still need to put it in practice, right? If you don't, then you will simply forget what you learned in courses. What should we do when there is high bias or high variance to improve the model? What about test error? So we don't cover this high bias, high variance concepts. Again, check the other theoretical courses from Andrew Ng. So what you should do when you have errors, then you, I don't know, reduce the complexity of your models, for example, or like it really depends, right? But so let's say if you have a simple model, right, and you see that simple model has this performance on your validation data set, then you can test the hypothesis. Will getting a more complex model solve my problem or not? Right? And then you just try this more complex model, and then you see what happens. And then based on that, you make your decision. So I don't know if I actually answered your question. So maybe summary of my answer is use validation, and it will guide you in all these decisions. And test error is, again, like if you use your validation data set many times, then at the end you can't necessarily trust it, because it might happen that the best model there is best just by pure luck. So that's why you have the test data set to verify that it's not overfitting. Would you recommend doing Andrew Ng's updated machine learning specialization after this course? Maybe. I haven't seen the updated machine learning specialization. I don't know what is that, what kind of content is there. I took the course back in 2012, I think. when it was still using Octave. So, and I do recommend taking this course. And I think it will be, you still need to do interviews. Like, let's say if you're looking for a job and your goal is to get a job, you start going to the interviews and you see what questions they ask. And if these questions about theory, then I think the best way to learn this theory, the theory that wasn't covered in this course, and we didn't cover this like variance bias trade-offs. We didn't cover gradient descent. We didn't cover many things, right? So if you want to learn these things, then I don't have better recommendations than Andrew Ng's course, at least the old one. But I think the updated one should be even better, right? That's why they updated it. How are you using Ubuntu with Windows, and why are you using Windows? I'm thinking of dual boot Windows with Pop OS. I have no idea what Pop OS is. The reason I am using Windows is because I like it. I was using Ubuntu since 2010, I think, even like I used other Linuxes even earlier. But I switched to Windows recently, last year, when recording this course, actually, ML Zoomcamp course, because I needed to edit videos, and editing videos on Linux is super annoying. Like, I don't know if you ever attempted to do this, but then Ubuntu is not like any Linux is just not the operational system people use for editing videos or any other thing like pictures. Also forget about this, right? And I thought, okay, like how about I try Windows? I did give it a try, and funny thing happened. So there is this VSL thing, Windows system subsystem for Linux, which works exactly like my Ubuntu. And I thought, like, if I can have Ubuntu on my Windows, then why do I need like Ubuntu? If you see what I mean. Because on Windows I could have like I could edit videos, I could do many other things. So some of the software I use right now, for example, Loom for recording videos, or I don't know, I use a tool called Crisp for noise reduction, and many other tools. They simply don't work on Linux because the developers, they don't care about Linux users. So they care about Windows users and they care about Mac OS users. So yeah, and now I get the best of both worlds, right? So I can use like tools that works on Windows but don't work on Linux, and I can still use Linux and do all the development stuff I've been doing like on Ubuntu since 2010, right? And yeah, it's been quite great. I really enjoy Windows. I have Windows Terminal, which I can use to either do things in Windows or in Ubuntu. And I can always just SSH to a remote computer and have my Ubuntu terminal there. So yeah, I am not coming back to Ubuntu anytime soon, at least like full Ubuntu, let's say. Okay, what teams do you interact with at your job as ML engineer or data scientist? What does a team usually consist of? I mean, according to roles and responsibilities. This is so instead of answering this question right now, I will refer to this thing. So you go to Data Talks Club articles, and then there is an article called Roles in a Data Team. And I wrote it some time ago, but this is very similar to like you're basically asking for this, right? So what are the people in teams? How did they work together? Maybe I can just send it here. So how they, is this the right one? Yeah, this is the right one. So, so how they work together and things like this. And when it comes to the setup I have at OLX, it's a little bit complex to explain it in the remaining 10 minutes. So maybe I will not do it right now, but please do check this article. And if you have questions, I'll be happy to answer these questions. Oops, I didn't want to click this. Can we use the data sets from homework to make a project portfolio with more work on them, or they are too easy data sets? I don't think it's a good idea to use the same data sets. I would go with something different. But if you really want to do this, I don't think I should say no, right? So please write in Slack about this, why you want to use this particular data set and how is it different from the homework we do. And if it looks fine, yeah, why not? But don't restrict yourself to just these data sets. Try to find something like go to Kaggle, explore what is there. Maybe you will find something better. Can you suggest some theoretical machine learning course that is included with this course? I'm not sure what the included part inclined. I don't know what inclined here means, but I think I already gave a recommendation that I think these two ML machine learning by Andrew Ng and this one, they are quite orthogonal, so they focus on different things. What should be my approach if I'm juggling between both data engineering and ML Zoomcamp? Also, there will be. So the first part is what should be my approach if I'm juggling between both? Well, I don't know how much time you have. If you don't have a lot of time, I would suggest to focus on one and then come back to another one. And yes, actually, I need to make an announcement, but we, as the course team from Data Engineering Zoom Camp, we actually discuss it, and I'm happy to announce that there will be another iteration of Data Engineering Zoom Camp. So yeah, maybe what you can do now is just focus on ML Zoom Camp and then come back to Data Engineering Zoom Camp when we launch it in January. So there will be like another announcement, but now you can know it. So yes, we will have another iteration in January. How to automate the process of transforming a column with different description string for each single product into an individual description. I do not understand this question, to be honest. How to automate the process of transforming a column with different description strings for each. Yeah, I need an example. So maybe ask in Slack with. I usually don't like screenshots when you post them in Slack because when I open a screenshot with code on my mobile, I cannot see anything. But maybe this is a case when actually, you can include a screenshot of what you mean, and let's discuss it there. Can you explain a little bit what does end-to-end project mean really? All steps in the crisp TM process. Exactly. So this would be a really end-to-end project in any sense, right? So when there is nothing, you start with nothing and you end with a deployed and functioning system with monitoring that is like as end-to-end as possible. Right? But then you can maybe try to make it a bit less end-to-end by getting some data set that already found, or maybe, I don't know, collecting some data set yourself. And then it will be, I don't think it will be end-to-end in this sense, but still, like when you get some data and then you deploy it, it's already better if you just, train a model in Jupyter Notebook and call it a day. So just a Jupyter Notebook is not an end-to-end project. Definitely, and all steps in crisp TM process is definitely end-to-end. Yeah, you're welcome. Are the MLOps concepts important to know for a data scientist job? I guess. I think yes, because data scientists do not live in isolation from the rest of the company, the rest of the team. And the article I talked about, I referred to, it actually describes how people work in a team. And MLOps is not just about tools, it's also about processes, like how exactly your work should be organized in such a way that you can easily, I don't know, maintain it, scale it, and so on. And then this is why data scientists should know some things about this. So yeah, I guess that answers your question. And then there are tools like for experiment tracking, so data scientists definitely need to use them. Yeah, I think I'm just trying to say yes, it is important. Yeah, you're very welcome. I'm very happy to see that. I'm working as a Java developer, but I'm much more interested in machine learning. Please suggest me the best machine learning course online. You are in the right place. So I was a Java developer. I became interested in machine learning, and this course is, how to say, quintessence, like basically the not the summary of but all my experience, that like everything I needed to go through to learn through. And I think that this is how I best learn as a Java developer, as an engineer, by doing projects. And this course was actually targeted at software engineers who wanted to become machine learning engineers. So you are in the best place. How to get out of tutorial hell? You will get out of tutorial hell when you start doing the project in this course, because it will be just a set of guidelines, this matrix, but you will have to do the rest yourself, right? So you will have to find a problem yourself. You will have to find to do exploratory data analysis yourself. You will have to do data preparation yourself. You will have to do everything yourself. There will be no homework with instructions, with exact steps that you need to do to have a project. And this is how you get out of tutorial hell. So let's not think about this particular course, but in any settings. So you want to find a problem that you want to solve. Once you have the problem, then try to think what is the best way to solve this, what is the shortest way to solve it, or at least what is the next step I need to do to solve it, and then try to work your way through solving this problem, right? So focus on the problem. And if you just do tutorials, you're not solving problems, you're just doing tutorials, right? So focus on the problem. Do you have any course except Zoomcamp? I don't know what it means. So we have 3 courses, which are all Zoomcamps. But yeah, you can just find the links in the course project. So yes and no, I guess. From your perspective, how is the market for data science and data engineering jobs in Germany? Pretty good. I mean, now that there is a bit of a recession, maybe not a bit, but there is the job market is also declining a little bit. So maybe there are not so many jobs as 1 year ago, but still possible to find a job. So there are still job postings. OLX, where I work, we hire. Maybe we actually hire less in Germany than before, but still companies are hiring. Any production model that is really important for industry? I don't know what this question means. Everything we study here in this course is important for industry. For back-end engineers, please suggest us some practical hands-on machine learning courses online. Yeah, I mean, I don't know why you ask me that, because what do you expect me to answer? Of course, take this course that you're already taking. In linear regression, is linear regression used more for prediction or inference purposes? What is the difference between prediction and inference? I don't think I know. Like, to me, they both sound synonyms. Yeah, so they are used for both, I guess. How should I find out whether my prediction model is working well or not using RMSE? Is there any way to change it to percentage? There is another metric which is called mean. I think the abbreviation is MAPE. It's mean average percentage error. Yeah. So this one will give you percentage, but there are some problems with this. Like you can check about the problems of this formula too, of this metric. Maybe problems. Yeah, I think there are some problems with this metric too. And usually what you do is you calculate both mean average precision, RMSE. Then you can also look at mean average error. Then you can also look at some other business metrics that are important to you. And yeah, so usually you don't look at just one number. Can you talk about linear regression regularization? Yes, I can. There is actually an entire module about that. you probably mean something specific that you didn't understand, and maybe ask about that in Slack. Adding to the DS and DA jobs in Germany, do you need to know German? I am ashamed to admit that I don't speak German that well, so I wouldn't be able to use German for work. And I've been in Germany for quite long too. That's why I'm kind of ashamed to admit that. But yeah, you can live quite well in Berlin. So like here I talk about Berlin, not Germany. The rest of the Germany is different, but in Berlin you can get around without speaking a word of German. I mean, I do speak some German, but I'm not fluent enough to actually use German at work. Now, maybe if I had to use German at work, I would become more fluent. But yeah, so far most jobs don't require German. Okay, so what are your top 3 or more ethical guidelines while applying machine learning to solve real-world problems, like predicting repeated crime? Okay, I'm not prepared to answer that question, so I don't have like top 3 guidelines. So maybe this is something we can discuss next time. So far, yeah, I think it's actually time to wrap it up. Because there are still quite a lot of questions. I don't know how to answer that. Maybe what you can do is I keep doing this, but you probably guessed that I will again talk about our YouTube channel, and we just had this responsible and explainable AI interview about that. So maybe check it out. So I will mark this as answered, and then maybe this is something we can go through next time, like we did last time. Some of the questions I didn't answer, we moved it to this week. So probably we can keep doing this. Okay, that would be it for today. Thanks for your questions. Thanks for the activity in Slack. And again, thanks for helping everyone in Slack. Thanks for answering questions. Thanks for asking questions. And I want to again thank the course team. Thanks a lot for preparing the homework, helping students. Yeah, that would be it for today. So yeah, by the way, did I say that we start week 3? Maybe if I didn't, then yeah, here you go. We start with week 3 and go check it out. Like all the videos are already there. The homework is already there. So have fun and enjoy learning. And see you next week. Goodbye.